Lira was unlike the others in Clearwater. She was Zyri, a species once feared during the Human-Zyri War. Her pale skin shimmered faintly in the sun, and her large silver eyes always carried a soft, searching sadness. She had come to Clearwater with a refugee group, but unlike most, she stayed behind when others moved deeper into the cities. She also had no legs. Jackson didn't ask how she lost them. War left scars on everyone, and he could read her silence the way a soldier reads a battlefield. Some wounds didn't need prodding. She got around with a wheelchair, an old Earth-made model, its wheels squeaking every few turns. He often saw her rolling down the dirt roads, a basket of herbs on her lap, selling remedies to settlers who were too poor for real medicine. Jackson had nodded at her once, just a polite acknowledgement, but she'd smiled back in a way that disarmed him, warm and genuine, as if she could see past his scars. That smile stuck with him. And maybe that was why, weeks later, when he heard the shouts, Jackson didn't stay silent. The trouble. It was late afternoon when the noise carried down the road. Harsh laughter. The kind that only belonged to men who enjoyed cruelty. Jackson limped from his workshop and saw them. 3 young settlers, broad-shouldered, mean-eyed, surrounding Lira. Her basket was overturned in the dirt. Herbs scattered like green confetti under their boots. They were jeering, pointing at her wheelchair, one of them already yanking it backward. "Can't even crawl without this thing, freak," the biggest one said, kicking a wheel until it bent sideways. Lira's hands trembled on the dirt. "Please don't." Her voice was soft, breaking. The tallest one grabbed the chair and lifted it high, laughing as if it were a game. "Maybe she should slither like a worm. That's what she is, right? Alien worm." The laughter rang out. Jackson's prosthetic foot hit the dirt hard as he walked forward, steady, deliberate. His jaw clenched, his fists curled. Something inside him, the part he thought he'd buried when he left the war, began to burn. The veteran steps in. "Put it down." His voice was calm, flat, but it cut through their laughter like a blade. The bullies turned. One sneered. "Old man, this ain't your business." Jackson limped closer. His gaze locked on the wheelchair. "Put down." They smirked at his leg, the mechanical hiss of his prosthetic joints. "Look at this. Cripples sticking up for cripples. You gonna hobble us to death." The fire inside him roared now, but he kept his face carved from stone. "Last warning." They didn't listen. The biggest one raised the chair higher. "Maybe I'll smash it. Let's see how your little pet alien crawls home." That was the last mistake they ever made. The breaking point. Jackson moved faster than they expected. War had taught him precision, efficiency, brutality. His prosthetic leg whirred, driving power into his kick as it slammed into the bully's knee. Bone cracked like dry wood. The boy screamed as he collapsed, the wheelchair tumbling safely into Jackson's grip. The second rushed him, swinging a fist. Jackson pivoted, caught the arm and twisted. Shoulder dislocated with a sickening pop. The boy shrieked, crumpling into the dirt. The last one froze, fear dawning too late. Jackson stepped forward, grabbed his shin, and snapped it against his metal knee. The howl that followed echoed through Clearwater. In less than 10 seconds, the bullies were writhing in the dirt, legs broken, howling for mercy. Jackson set the wheelchair gently beside Lira. His chest heaved once, twice. Then he turned his gaze cold as steel upon the fallen boys. "You don't touch her again. You don't touch anyone like this again. If you do, you won't walk away next time. You won't crawl either." The silence afterward was heavier than any battlefield. Middle, healing and truth. Jackson bent to help Lira back into her chair. Her silver eyes shimmered, not with fear but with awe. You fought for me, she whispered. Jackson shook his head. I fought because no one should be left on the ground. From then on, their paths intertwined. He repaired her wheelchair, reforging it with stronger alloys, adding quiet suspension so it glided smoothly. She laughed the first time she rolled freely down the path. No squeaks, no jerks, just smooth movement. You gave me wings, she said. Jackson only grunted, but inside something thawed. As days turned to weeks, they spoke more. Lira told him of the Zaire cities, glass towers that sang in the wind, now rubble. She told him how her people feared humans, but she didn't, because she had met a soldier once who spared her life. Jackson told her of the war too, of comrades lost, of nights when the stars themselves seemed to bleed. He admitted his nightmares, the weight of guilt he carried. One night, beneath the quiet sky, she placed her hand on his scarred one. You carried too much. You gave me back dignity. Let me carry some of your pain. For the first time in years, Jackson let someone close enough to see the cracks. The return of the bullies. But peace never lasted long. The three young men healed, though not well. Limping, bitter, filled with hate. Their families whispered about vengeance, about the alien girl and the crippled soldier who shamed them. One evening, as the suns dipped below the ridge, the bullies returned. Armed this time, metal pipes in hand. Jackson saw them coming. He stepped outside, prosthetic humming as he braced himself. Lira was inside the workshop, fear in her eyes. You should run, she whispered. Not my style, he muttered. They came at him screaming, swinging. The world narrowed to motion and instinct. Pipes clanged against his metal limb, sparks flying. Jackson countered with brutal precision, shattering bones, dropping them one by one. When it ended, they weren't just broken. They were finished. Every leg, every arm twisted beyond use. Jackson stood over them, chest heaving, eyes dark. This is your last lesson, he growled. You rise again, and I'll bury you myself. They never returned after that. Ending, a new tomorrow. Life in Clearwater slowly settled. The settlers whispered about Jackson, half in fear, half in respect. But no one bothered Lira again. She continued her work, gathering herbs, healing wounds, even tending to the children of those who once scorned her. They saw her kindness, her patience, and the village began to change. And Jackson found something he thought he'd lost forever. Purpose. One morning, Lira rolled to his side, smiling. You know, for a man who wanted silence, you've made a lot of noise lately. He chuckled, a rare sound. Guess I forgot how to be quiet. Her gaze softened. Stay loud then. With me. The veteran and the alien sat together in the rising sun, scars and wheels, metal and flesh, finding in each other not just survival, but a future. Because sometimes protecting one's soul meant healing too.